In this last chapter, in this last section of chapter 4, we're going to look at both greatest common divisors, sometimes these are also called greatest common factors, and then least common multiples. You can find the greatest common divisor or the least common multiple between two or more numbers. For the examples in this section, we're just going to focus on two numbers though. So I'm going to start with the greatest common divisor. This is the largest number that divides into two or more numbers. So we're going to look at two examples here. The first one is 18 and 45, the second 36 and 54. You might naturally look at the numbers 18 and 45 and say, well, 9 is the greatest common factor or the greatest common divisor. 9 is the biggest number that divides into both 18 and 45. But how do we know that? One method of finding the greatest common divisor is to list out the divisors or the factors of each of the numbers in set notation, and I'll do that here in a second, and then just find the biggest one. So, there we go. If we look at 18, 18 is divisible by 1, of course, also 2, 3, 6, 9, and itself, 18. 45 is divisible by 1, 3, 5, 9, 15, and 45. To find the greatest common factor, the greatest common divisor, you want to look where these intersect. Where do these two sets intersect? At which numbers? Let me switch to a different color here. Well, they both contain a 1, they both contain a 3, and they both contain a 9. The greatest of those, the largest of those, is the 9. So the greatest common factor is 9. And you can intuitively know that, but by listing out all of the factors as sets, you can, in a sense, prove why that's true. So the same thing here for 36 and 54. 36 has quite a few factors. It's divisible by 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and then itself. 54 is divisible by 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 27, and 54. Again, we're looking for the overlap. So they both have a 1, they both have a 2, they both have a 3 in common, as well as 6, 9, and 18. The greatest of these is the 18. That's our greatest common factor. Later in the section, we'll look at a couple other ways that you can find the greatest common factor. This is probably the most straightforward. We're going to also look at least common multiples. This is the smallest number that is a multiple of our two numbers that we're considering. So again, we're going to start with 18 and 45. This time we're looking at multiples. So 18 times 1, 18 times 2, and so on. So the first few multiples of 18 are going to be 18, 36, 54, 72, 90, and I'll go out one more, 108. And you could continue to list them if you needed to. We're actually not going to need to go any further. The multiples of 45 are 45, 90, 135. And I actually could have stopped at the 90. When we're finding the least common multiple, it is the smallest of the multiples that they have in common, and that's our 90. So the LCM here is going to be 90. So we do the same thing for 36 and 54. The multiples of 36 are 36, 72, 108, 144, 180, and it continues. I don't need to go any further, but it does continue. Multiples of 54 are 54, 108. I could stop there, but I'll go one more, 162. So I can stop because we have found a number they have in common. Remember, it's that intersection of sets. What do they have in common? The 108. That's the first multiple that they share, so that's our least common multiple. So this method for least common multiple with the intersection of sets and finding the greatest common divisor, these are probably the most straightforward of the methods, but I will show you a couple more in the next two videos.